So let the Monday morning ruckus begin. I, Jay Cleveland Payne, here with you for things you might have heard for Monday, August 29th, 2022. That is the day we're producing this here thing. What it is lasting the last 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a little bit of Monday, things you might not have heard over the past weekend to get your week started for your coffee talk, your chatty chat, your water cooler talk, however you want to chat with folks, however you want to get your day started off talking about things that are kind of interesting. We've got kind of interesting things. We've got about 16 different things, if you will. Of course, over the weekend, we have 3 full days of pulling news stories. So we got news stories for about 90 or so stories to pull. We pull from the top 30, and we are presenting these live on some extra channels. So welcome if you're tuning in on the Jay Cleveland Payne Facebook profile, the Jay Cleveland Payne YouTube page, and the Jay Cleveland Payne LinkedIn page. Thank you so much for joining us in for this thing we do every single day, Monday through Friday, at least every weekday. And hopefully, if you enjoy it, we'll tell you how to make sure you get it 5 days a week on the main channels. Let's get into the stories. Of course, go to our main website, which is ThisIsTheConversationProject.com, the home for this project, The Conversation Project, brought to you by More Bitter Media, LLC. Thank you so much for being in the show, or on the show, if you will. Put your comments in the videos if you watch the video version, or if this is the podcast version, just send me an email, and we will chat you up in the future if you're not here now. Right now, let's get into the news of now. Shia LaBeouf has come forward to dispute the assertion that he was fired from Don't Worry Darling by director Olivia Wilde, just as production was starting in 2020. We're going to let that sit for a second. We have a lot of news stories to get to, but this is one you got to sit, kind of sip on, think it out. Shia LaBeouf, back, the guy from Even Stevens, the kid from Even Stevens, who's turned into a kind of a weirdo, which in Hollywood term is kind of a standard, if you will, maybe following the Nicolas Cage version of being famous. He is coming out saying that back in 2020, he was supposed to be working on Don't Worry Darling and got fired for some weird behavior, which is kind of what he's known for. He's come out now saying that, nope, not the case. Read the story, get the link, go deeper into what he's saying about this. He has some apologies for some of the things he's doing, but he basically said, I wasn't fired. I fired myself from you. That's what he's saying about his term on this movie itself. This was the biggest story of the weekend. We posted this, I believe, on late Friday. So this is a story that gathered all the moss and collected everything across the full weekend. This is what you guys really want to talk about. Other stories, not quite as popular, but still conversational, include Ricky Gervais banning ice from his shows. As Comics says, sound ruins the flow of stand-up. I'm not sure how the sound of ice ruins the flow of stand-up, but Ricky Gervais can demand, tell folks, there's no more ice in your drinks, no more ice in your stuff, because I don't like it. You get to a point where you're a little too powerful. If you think you've been a little too influential, and if you think that people clinking ice in their glasses is a problem for your routine, then maybe Ricky Gervais, maybe you're a bit too much. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to Ricky Gervais concerts. I'm not going to Ricky Gervais sets. I don't care for Ricky Gervais. So maybe I ruin the flow of his stand-up, and I would also be banned from performances. Or, of course, I wouldn't pay for them anyway. Britney Spears, double action. Britney Spears reacts to the whole Be Closer collab with Elton John's reaching #1. Oh my God, it's so great. Here's the problem. The song is horrible. Jay Cleveland Payne, says Hold Me Closer is horrible. Once I realized what Elton John is doing, remixing songs and bringing in people for voices and just kind of doing whatever, the song is terrible. It is terrible. We love Britney Spears. This song is terrible. Also, maybe we shouldn't love Britney Spears so much, because Britney Spears drops a 20-minute plus tell-all recounting her conservatorship and then pulled it away from us. Eventually telling the world what was going on, and then taking it off YouTube, taking away all the social media posts to point to that said video. Actually, I think it was on Instagram, but she did this video talking about how life was in conservatorship, and now it's gone. If you look for some sites like TMZ and places like that, they watch the video and they, can't house the video, but they basically broken down early on, so it's there in posthumous attire for what's going on in this one. We know there's some beef between her and former husband Kevin Federline, actually all her former husbands, if you will. But Federline saying that her sons, her teenage boys that she had with him, they aren't talking to her because of a lot of things, and it gets really complicated. Britney Spears like, oh no, we're just in a little tiff. there may be a bit more going on in Britney Spears' world outside of conservatorship, which we are so happy is done for. However, we are also still a little worried about Britney Spears. The song is terrible. I'm sorry. Donald Trump's Truth Social reportedly faces major money and trademark woes. The big thing is vendors aren't getting paid. And when vendors aren't getting paid, vendors start telling people, we're not getting paid, and this thing is terrible. Truth Social, from all accounts I can tell, because all I see is clips from people putting them on the news, it looks basically a Twitter for people who follow Donald Trump, who were mad he got pulled off of Twitter, which is fine, which is good, which is there. I think Devin Nunes is running it or something, whoever. Something he pulled a cabal of his folks to take over this social media platform. It's part of an overall digital media source, I guess. I guess this is essentially an extension of the Donald Trump blog, if you will. However, they're not paying people, which means they're probably not getting paid, not making money, which is kind of how these things work. And social media sites don't really make money. I know Facebook is worth billions of dollars, but its profitability is very sketchy. Twitter's profitability is very sketchy, which is why the Elon Musk thing was a big deal and why him pulling out is a even bigger deal. Truth Social as a new year-old, whatever, a social media network should not be profitable, should not be making money, should not be doing all that great, but it has the push of this is where Donald Trump is doing all his truth socialing, his truthing, if you will. So it has eyeballs for that. Apparently has no money and is not paying the people, its vendors. And so the vendors are starting to sum up the words that, you know what, this thing is just a copy of Twitter and it's pretty much sucks, because that's what vendors do. When you don't pay them, they offer the truth socially. Like what I do with that one, don't you? Zuckerberg tells Rogan Facebook suppressed that word too, Hunter Biden's laptop story after the FBI warning. So Joe Rogan is going to interview, or has interviewed, Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not sure if the interview's out or not. I just don't listen to Joe Rogan. When the clips come out, I pick up a couple there for you guys here. I just don't have the time for Joe Rogan, and so I choose that. So Mark Zuckerberg went on with the Roadster, and he went on to say that, yes, there was suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story because there was warnings from the FBI. It's going to take a few days for this to kind of trickle down, plus what other weird clips came about from the podcast / video show. So we have more things to chew on. Like I said, I'm not listening. I don't know if it's even been released yet, if this is just kind of, excerpts of the excerpts going forward. But this is going to be a thing, especially since Hunter Biden's laptop is a big deal, because Joe Biden's doing good things. So Hunter Biden's laptop must be talked about to deflate some of Joe Biden's good things. Hunter Biden's laptop apparently is a story, and there are things to that, but it does not negate the other president and the current president from what they are or aren't doing, because it's a different guy. This is like Ivanka having 1,000 patents from China, and Jared working out deals for his father's business while working in the White House. Yeah, sleight of hand. Don't watch what's over here, because what's really over here is what over here. I can't get in the camera. Is what's going on. Rebecca, that's why I don't do magic. Next story. Fans at Nebraska-Northwestern football game in Ireland get free beer when internet for concessions goes down. Yes, they had nothing they can do about it. They went to go to the concessions for beer at Nebraska-Northwestern game happening in Ireland, of all places, kicking off the football season. Then they find out the internet's out and the tills don't work. So what you gonna do? You're gonna give the beer away for free, because that's what you're going to do, because it's Ireland. You've got to do something with the beer. You can't just let the beer stand there for the Harry Styles concert coming back in 3 months. You got to sell the beer now, or you got to give it away. So and that's what they did. They drank the concession stand dry because, hey, as many beers as you want, because it's all for free. It's not on your wallet. It's just all on your tummy. And it's all in the tummies of many fans for this game. A lot of them just Irish fans who are loving the game of American football, sort of taking it in. Easy to take in with a couple extra pops in your stomach. Let's just say that. Your Republican National Committee fires national spokesperson Paris Dennard. If you had not known, Paris Dennard was still the Republican National Committee national spokesperson, no longer with the company. In fact, their statements basically say Paris Dennard is no longer with us. period. Believe it or not, Paris Dennard is an old hat of this thing. He comes back from deep in the early parts of the Bush administration, because you got to start someplace, becoming a rising star during the time for Obama as of course, the black guy to talk bad about Obama. And of course, becoming a rising star in the world, the Trump world, being the black guy talking crazy stuff for Trump. Paris Dennard may or may not be actually good at his job, but basically the bombast that he's on, and the fact he's there and all the times to basically be a big old nail in the kind of scratch on the chalkboard is what he does, and what he did very well, to the point that it annoyed most people. And now that we're back to normal talk, he can't get on any places because we need normal talking people. With that, Paris Dennard off to bigger, better things. We'll see what bigger, better things they are. But for now, no more Paris Dennard. New York law meant to Whippets makes whipped cream a 21-year and older purchase. Whippets are the little metal canisters that you get that contain charges of CO2. And you use those in the canisters to make fresh whipped cream, because you put in a little bit of heavy cream into the thing, you pop in a canister, turn it on, it goes whoosh, and all of a sudden you add that carbon dioxide, that CO2, the bubbles, to whip the cream naturally. Now, what it was meant to do was keep people from buying those things and huffing them for carbon dioxide. What it means is that you have to be an legal adult to buy a can of whipped cream at the grocery store, because it's the same technology in your whipped cream can in the grocery store, packaged in there, that it's a compressed level of CO2 that when you tap the little thing, it adds the air to the cream, pushes it out, whips it up and pushes it out there. That makes whipped cream purchases, for your sundaes and your hot chocolate, a 21 and older purchase. Sure, you can imbibe them, but you can't get them from the store. What good is that? I don't know. Let's go on to this one right here. Packers QB Aaron Rodgers admits misleading the media about vaccination status last season. Yes, he was not vaccinated. Yes, he did some weird treatment that Joe Rogan did. Joe Rogan popped himself back up into this broadcast. Yes, he knew this was not exactly the kosher thing to do. And yes, he said it on purpose to freak people out, which it did. End of story. Well, not quite in the story, but in that part of the story. Two stories about rookies for the upcoming NFL season who's going to have some very, very rough starts to their lives happening. First, Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson in stable condition after being shot in attempted carjacking. Yes, this happened late yesterday. And a few days prior, Matt Azaria released by Buffalo Bills following rape accusation. Actually, the rape accusations were quite some time. He was pulled off the practice squad late in the week, middle week, I'd say last week. And over the weekend, they officially cut him because of this specifically. Two rookies aren't going to see a good start to the season coming up in like 2 weeks happening. And two rookies who we'll see what happens. Maybe Arizia, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, gets picked up by some other team, gets picked up practice squad, goes to play for the XFL. I don't know. But Commanders running back Brian Robinson is probably going to be back in a few months after some rehab with what's happening here. Of course, Arizia was a kicker, just if you got missed out going on. Season starts like in a week and a half or so. And two last stories of sports people actually doing sports and winning. Rory McIlroy pulls off stunning comeback to win Tour Championship FedEx Cup title. And Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney grab last playoff spots in rain-soaked Daytona. So I guess that means there's more reality show stuff for Austin Dillon on his Life in the Fast Lane USA thing, because we love people who do sports, pretending like they're having goofy times in the grocery store, I guess. But Rory McIlroy, of course, trying to hold off the Live Tour and doing his best to just play good golf, to show the good golfers are, in this case, here going forward. Our teaser story of the day, and fair warning, and there's going to be a little bit of a song coming up, so I'm going to sing my horrible singing voice will come out in just a bit. Lloyd Boebert under fire for claiming student loan forgiveness funds, quote, degree in lesbian dance theory, unquote. So in this interview, which you see a clip of from Fox News right there, she is going on. She's angry about the loan forgiveness stuff, which she has a right to be, and she stands up for that side of political thought. So she's going to be the spokesperson for that. However, in her talk, throwing out flaunts and just kind of just crass things just because they catch attention. She brings the fact that, I wish I could have got a degree in lesbian dance theory back in the day and got my loans forgiven. When, of course, there are no actual degrees in lesbian dance theory. And that's not why they're just forgiving loans for lesbian dance theory. They're forgiving loans for algebra and education and science and maybe some med school debts, lawyer folks, their pre-stuff there. So, pardon me for a second, a little sip of the tea. Go away, Lowen Boebert, go away. Go away, Lowen Boebert, go away. Go away, Lowen Boebert, go away. Lowen Boebert, go away. Lower Boebert, go away. Go away. Thank you. We're teasing the story because if you guys like this, she's not quite going away. If this is a story you want to bring up tomorrow in our things you might have heard for Tuesday, which will be August the 30th, if you will, this story is going to post in about 5 minutes. As it comes up, engage with it. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Please hate it a lot. Hate all over it. Yeah, we'll talk about it if you want to talk about it. That's all we got for that one. But we do got more to stay more, and that includes YouTube TV. My source for getting in my TV these days is YouTube TV. My family, despite all the fighting they wanted to do to keep cable into the house, are on YouTube TV, and we're all so much better for it now. In fact, they didn't think they'd be so much better for it, but they are. Check out YouTube TV and get yourself $20 off your first month. Get 85 plus channels that are standard in the package. Why 85 plus? Because you get 85 of the standard channels like ESPN, AMC, TNT, MSNBC, Fox Sports 1, and of course ESPN's, plus your local channels, your actual local channels based on your location. And the really cool thing is, if you go traveling a bit, because you can watch this on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, on your smart TV, on your big screen TV, on your desktop at work when you should be working on your spreadsheets. Not that I do that or anything. When you go out of town, when you go traveling, it will look for the local stations where you are and find those ABCs, CBS, Foxes, NBCs, CWs, whatever that are there for you. Now, these are network channels. Not going to find any independent channels unless there's someplace large like that where they basically have some sort of affiliation. But you watch local channels that you have based on your location. Not just an ABC feed, but it's a true ABC station that's down the street that you pick over your rabbit ears. Find it at thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube TV. Thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube TV. They're $20 off your first month from YouTube TV on us. How you like that? I think it's a pretty good thing. Let's go to the websites of note for today. Today being always thisisaconversationproject.com, the main website for The Conversation Project. Things we do here, things we don't quite do here yet, and things we used to do but don't do for some reason. You can find them there, plus links to all the background stuff, links to everything we do, and the real meaning behind this, plus the biggest important things, sponsors and partnerships. Find out how you can partner up with us or find other sponsors that may help you out that we get a little cutback from at thisisaconversationproject.com. There's all that words. The feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Now, how we get the news for you is every 50 minutes, we post a story on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, it's facebook.com/thisisaconversationproject, and Twitter, twitter.com/th_conversation. When you click on those links, when you go to those sites and you follow us there, you will see those news stories, such as the Lowen Boebert story, which I actually hope you actually vote up so we can talk about it. However, I still want her to go away. That being said, when you check out the feeds, you just see what stories are out there at the moment. Like them, love them, hate them, share them. And the more engagement they get, the higher score they get coming up. On this Monday, as we produce this for the extra channels, you get a chance to get a swath of the best stories. We think it's best stories out of the top third of stories. You get about 90 or so stories throughout the 3-day weekend, and we will pull from the top 30. Today we pulled about 15, 16 stories, and we ran through them pretty quick, which I'm really impressed by. You can get those stories, and you can use those for your water cooler talk. Tuesday through Friday, we only get about 30-ish stories a day, so we're going to go from the top 15, top half of those, give you about 5 to 9 stories that are grand for your coffee talk on those days. We are also on TikTok doing TikTok things. We're going to do more TikTok things soon. We just have to find out what good TikTok things are to be done on the TikTok. On YouTube, of course, you want this 5 days a week. Go to the This Is a Conversation Project YouTube page. Find the link at thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube. Just search it for YouTube. And of course, we also have a podcast. A podcast is just the audio version of this. We're going to clip after the video's over. So if you want to hear me but not see me, I'm so okay with that. But you can do that by clicking the link for our podcast at thisisaconversationproject.com/podcast. It's powered by Podpage, but it's powered by it's presented by Podpage. It's powered by Spreaker. It gets really complicated, but it's on every single platform that your pod is cast. So look for things you might not have heard, or look for your news side piece. How do you like that one? Because we are your news side piece, giving you all that tertiary news that you love, that you're not getting from home. Mama's not giving you that mainstream stuff. Well, Mama is giving you that mainstream stuff. We got the stuff you really, really like. Yes, we do. So going out the door today, starting off with things for today things, which are birthdays starting off. Rebecca De Mornay is 63 years old today. She, known for lots of things, but of course made her big splash into the world of movies with Risky Business with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, also like 870 years old, still looking like he's 42. Rebecca De Mornay still doing it pretty well, still making it work at 63 years old today. Lea Michele, 36 years old today. Now, remember, we hate Lea Michele. We despise Lea Michele. Lea Michele is the person who's now, I guess she's now doing a Funny Girl on Broadway, who got Beanie Feldstein fired from Funny Girl. She was, really mean and evil when she was on Glee. She's just a horrible person. But it's her birthday. She's 36 years old today. And Liam Payne of One Direction also hitting a milestone today, 29, one spot away from being in his 30s, one spot away from being past the really prime of being, boy band-ish stuff and being adult stuff, although Harry Styles is making it work, so why not Liam Payne? What do we also hate? Well, we don't really hate. We're not a fan of the chop suey, but today is National Chop Suey Day, so to each his own. Chop your own suey, do your thing. And this stuff, this little program right here, it ain't chop suey. Had to get that one in there. Going out the door with this one right here. So let's talk about housework. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on average, women spend 47 more minutes in housework than men do every day. The gender gap in housework exists in nearly every configuration of heterosexual households. Women do more housework when both partners work, when they make more money than their spouse, in households where both are not unemployed, and when both are retired. This is let's just call it a simple fact, and we're not going to be doing anything sexist on it. It is what it is. Coming from the traditional roles of women taking care of the house while men took care of the bills, even though that traditional role has so blown up going forward, these are things that are just sort of set aside in our ways, set aside in the thought process, things that are taught. Now, in younger generations coming up where they don't seem to clean anything, we'll see how this works out. But in the meantime, even as my daughter, when she grows up, the fact that I don't think she's cleaned up her room in the 10 years she's been alive without being poked and prodded any times. We'll see what happens with her partner in the future, whether he or she decides to clean up or whatever. They'll probably just keep moving to different houses. Actually, they'll probably just live with me forever, to be honest. That's more or less what's bound to happen, knowing the way my family works. This has been things you might not have heard for the day, Monday, August 29th, 2022, going back 3 days. So it's things you might have heard that happened already today. Hopefully you're having a great start to your week by the time you're seeing this. I know it's early, so maybe it's not quite early enough to get a good start to the week, but maybe you are. We hope you are. We hope you have a great week this week. Less challenging than a lot of us had for last week, as we'll go forward with all that stuff. If you're watching us live, we appreciate all the eyeballs we had in the live show. If you're watching this on a replay or listening for the podcast, send us a shout out. We will shout you out in the future. Make sure that you are staying hydrated, staying limber, and staying on task. Why do I say these things? These things are meant to remind you that you need to prepare yourself for a long journey ahead, not just the day, but the days ahead. And we need you here for all them days to do all that stuff that you are here to do. We want you here. We need you here. We love you. If no one said it yet, I'm saying it here on Monday, August 29th, 2022. I love you guys, and I want the best for you. So let's go out and have a great one. Follow us in the feeds, follow the stories. Make sure you're checking out the stories that get posted every 20 minutes or so, and make sure you stop by our YouTube page. You can find the link at theconversationproject.com/YouTube, and subscribe and hit notifications so that at 5:50 every weekday morning, you get that notifications 5 days a week, not just one day if you're on my Jacob and Payne stuff. That's it. We out. Thank you so much. Talk to you tomorrow.